Well, hi, and thanks for stopping by the Pellets and Pistons Airgun channel. Today we're at the bench with my new Beeman Webley Eclipse. It's not a new rifle, of course, but it's fairly new to me. I've introduced you folks to this gun in a couple of previous videos, one of them where I went over in detail how it operates. But we're not here to discuss how it operates, we're not here to shoot, and we're not here to ring any bells. We're here to discuss the buzz and to see what we can do about it. So this is the first in a two-part series where we're going to see what we can do about making this gun shoot a little smoother. But today I want to show you what it sounds like, and then we're going to take it inside, we're going to put it on the bench, and we're going to tear it down. In the second video, we're going to go ahead and correct the buzz problem, hopefully, put it back together, and then test fire it to see how we did. So without further ado, let me show you what the gun sounds like. Now, if you didn't see the previous videos, I'll go over really quickly how this gun operates. You've got a little latch up here that you push forward that allows the underlever to drop down a little bit where you can get a hold of it. Then you're going to bring it all the way down till it locks up. Bring it back and latch it into position. And then here you've got a loading port that you lift a little lever on the side, and you can flip this whole loading port up. That gives you direct access to the rear of the barrel where you'll load your pellet. I find this system a little bit fumbly. It's hard for me to see what I'm doing with my fingers in the way, so it sometimes takes me several seconds to load a pellet. Alright, so we're going to put the microphone right up against the, not against, but up near the receiver. Take the safety off, we'll aim down into the ground, and we'll give you an idea what it sounds like. Did you hear the buzz? I certainly did. We're going to do it a couple more times just so you can hear it. So hopefully we can correct that, because that'll make the gun a much more enjoyable gun for me to shoot. I like a smooth, fast action with no vibration whatsoever, and I think we can achieve that with this gun if we put a little time into it. So one more time, safety off, aim down into the dirt. I don't know, did you hear that buzz? One more time. I'm down to my last few pellets in this tin, so they're hard to get a hold of. Wow, first shot on that pellet. Sometimes it takes me, like I said, several seconds to get the pellet to load properly. Microphone up near the receiver, safety off, aim down into the dirt. And that's your buzzing rifle, folks. So now we're going to take it inside and put it on the workbench, and we'll tear it down. That ought to be fun. It'll be a learning experience for me. I've never had one of these apart before. And so I want to thank you again for stopping by the Pellets and Pistons Airgun channel, and I'll meet you at the workbench. We'll begin by removing the scope as well as the stock. You'll always want to use the proper screwdriver to fit the screw heads to avoid damaging those screw heads as you remove those screws. Once the stock has been removed, we can move on to removing the cross pin at the rear of the receiver tube. Be careful with this step. You'll need to restrain the mainspring with the use of the punch. So as the punch pushes out the cross pin, the punch will in turn be what's holding the mainspring assembly from releasing its tension. Here what I'll be doing is finishing pushing the pin through with the punch, and then I'll slowly remove the punch as I apply downward pressure to the receiver assembly to keep that spring from flying across the room. Once the punch is out, the spring and the end cap will be free to remove from the gun. From here we'll remove the cocking lever as well as the cocking arm from the receiver. Once the cocking linkage has been removed from the gun, we'll need to remove one of the pins from the trigger group. This is for an auxiliary sear, and that sear will be in the way of the piston when we try to remove the piston from the tube. So we need to remove that sear first, and that requires removing this pin. This is the only pin that you'll need to remove from the Webley Eclipse in order to remove the piston. Once the pin has been removed, we can reach inside and get a hold of the auxiliary sear and remove that as well. From here, an Allen wrench makes a good tool to push against the wall of the piston so that it can be removed from the rear of the receiver tube. Firmly pushing down will slide the piston to the rear of the receiver. From there, it can be removed from the gun, and the job is finished as far as disassembly goes. Now we're ready to take a look at things and see what we need to do in order to correct the buzz. Okay, so the Beeman Webley Eclipse has been disassembled, and it looks like the piston seal is in perfect condition. I don't think we'll need to replace it. I don't think we need to worry about that at all. It's kind of an unusual piston seal. It looks like just a flat disc of nylon that does the job of sealing the piston. So we won't mess with that. As far as the mainspring is concerned, this is where the noise is coming from. The spring guide itself, which fits inside the mainspring, is a very tight fit. I can't even get it apart by hand. So I don't think I need to make a spring guide for it. However, I think I will make a top hat, and in order to do that, I'm going to take a coil off the spring just to make sure that the length doesn't interfere. In other words, once you make a top hat, you've lengthened the spring by whatever thickness the top hat happens to be. So what we're going to do is compensate for that by removing a coil off the mainspring. That probably will drop the power somewhat, but I don't imagine it'll drop it enough to even notice. So anyway, that's the plan, and in the next video we'll get about carrying out those duties. We'll get to the lathe, we'll make that top hat, we'll cut the coil off, and we'll reassemble this and see if we got rid of the noise. So anyway, folks, I want to thank you so much for stopping by the Pellets and Pistons Airgun channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and by all means hit that bell if you want to be reminded about future videos. Thanks again, folks, and have a great day.